Yeah. So then, like you've talked of gold, so what would you see it at one level? This is a natural journey because initially, like there was barter, then there was gold, then they realized there is no such thing as a gold standard anymore. Gold has been delinked. Even if the whole gold vanishes, nobody cares anymore.
True.
Similarly, you had like paper money. Then money had already become virtual by the time Bitcoin came. So, what do you think? Is this like a natural progression? So, I'm just asking, like in the future, could you have all the banks being run by blockchain,
True.
distributed ledgers, and all the currencies become
Vikram,
rupees, a cryptocurrency, dollar? I mean, as a just a theory, I'm saying, is that possible?
this is what we truly believe in, right? If you look at Bitcoin in 2011, if you had like 0.0001 Bitcoin in your account, that money will still be there. Okay, there is no minimum balance charges or anything. It's so cheap to run a cryptocurrency, this thing, right? If you look at SBI, they had to charge around like what 4,000 crores on the minimum balance fee, right? A lot of people are, even governments are trying to come up with a central bank digital currency because this is so efficient to run. And as Vikram already explained, the blockchain itself is like such a beautiful way to run things, right? Everything is all the time. The reconciliation happens all the time, right? You don't do it once in a month or once in a week. It is just part of your whole thing, right? So that is one part. Uh, what is your question?
Yeah. So, is this a natural progression? And
Yeah,
going
yeah. So
forward,
yeah,
can we have
so
distributed ledgers by blockchain and
definitely.
cryptocurrency?
See, one more thing I'll say. If I send one Bitcoin to Vikram, okay, if I send 2 lakhs to Vikram in IMPS, this 2 lakhs, I have like no idea whether it has reached Vikram or not. Vikram will say he has not received. I will say I've sent it. I have to call my customer care. He has to call his customer care. There's like so many these things. They'll say they'll wait for 3 days. This happens with IMPS, right? 1 in 100 transaction, this kind of things happen. With respect to Bitcoin, every transaction then it's a transaction ID. This you can check, I can check, anyone in the world can check. So every time a transaction happens, it's easily verifiable. So that is why you'll have a lot of decentralized things that are being possible, right? It is just like how you do this vendor payments in the this thing, right? You put a 10 rupee coin, you get something, right? You are not concerned whether the 10 rupee coin has reached, not reached, and all those things. And one thing we keep discussing is between myself and Vikram, the current internet money system. What they did is they took the existing conventional system and okay, how do I tinker this to bring it to internet? They didn't think if I build something my money for internet from scratch, how should it look like? For example, if you want to pay 2 rupees to say PC Quest, you are running a digital this thing, right? People don't want to pay monthly subscription. If you want to pay per page, I cannot do that through a Visa or Mastercard. They don't accept minimum charges below 2 rupees or 3 rupees. For that, they'll charge 2 rupees extra, and then there'll be a GST about that, right? If you want to pay per page that I read, 1 paisa per page, right? Good articles, I'll read 10 pages. I'm willing to pay 1 rupee or 2 rupee. Bad articles, I will half the page. I'm going to stop right away, right? So these kind of digital things are not possible with the conventional money that we have. With respect to cryptocurrencies, micro payments are possible. Even 1 paisa, even half a paisa. When you're talking about IoT, right? So there was a coin called IOTA which came up with these things, but it is not just that coin. Any of the cryptocurrencies, they can be developed to perform that. It's basically right. You are driving a car. I am coming in the opposite direction. You are saying I'm really, really in a hurry. I'll pay you 10 paisa. Just give me the route. And when you have like millions of IoTs across the world, these are also going to give data to a lot of people, right? I'm going to say what is the traffic condition here, and I can get paid for that. So these will all not happen in 1 rupee or 2 rupee. It will be like half a paise or all those things, but over a million of interactions, you'll be making some money, right? So these kind of digital money, the qualities of digital money, they are not there in the conventional system. So this is like either you'll have cryptocurrencies playing this role or central bank digital currencies, like a digital rupee issued by RBI, they will play this role. The third thing I spoke about, right, this Uber thing, right, a decentralized Uber, they need these kind of currencies to run, right? It cannot go and ask bank to like, okay, this particular IMPS reference number 01283, has it been processed or not? Please give me. It should be able to verify it by itself. For that, you need a transparent public system. Either government of India, they come up with a central bank digital currency that has all these features, or a cryptocurrency like a Bitcoin, a Ripple, Ethereum, they will be doing this. But we see logically, this is what is going to happen. You had mentioned it beautifully, right? We had different currency systems, different times, right? We had a bimetallic standard also. We had like silver and gold both played. right? Then they said, okay, we'll move to a gold-backed currencies. In 1971, Nixon said, no more backing, no more. I'm going to call it a fiat currency, right? And if you see Dutch, they had like the monopoly of the reserve currency for 200 years. Then British had it for 200 years. Then US is having it for like last 50, 60 years, right?
Right.
And right now US is printing trillions and
Yeah.
trillions, trillions and trillions of dollars. Like,
Yeah.
what happens when someone prints money like thin air? If we are holding dollar, you should be really upright.
Yeah.
It is no longer going to have some value, right? This is how inflation happens, right? When you talk about normal inflation, we say that my land, it used to be like 100 rupees per ground. Now it is over 10 lakhs, right? The land has remained the same. The money supply has increased huge. What 1 rupee of money could buy 50 years back has become like so little.
Yeah.
Right, 1 rupee you could have had like maybe you could spend even a week, right? 50 years back. No, it is only because of printing more and more currencies. During crisis like this, when US is going on a spree, printing money continuously, they are just backing the stock. They're saying, I will not let stocks fall. I'm just going to print more money. When you see bank stocks like Hertz being pushed up, okay, US dollar at this rate cannot stay as reserve currency for a long time.
Yeah.
Okay, and any current government that has a reserve currency, they have something called an exorbitant privilege. China has to work so hard to create mobile phones, computers, laptops, this, and sell it to US. Okay, what do they get in return? Just a printed piece of paper. US doesn't have to produce anything at all. They have to just keep printing in the printing press. Okay, does not so not exist. You have to just keep creating those extra digits in the computers, and they get all the things that they need in the world, right? So if you look at how a future will look like, if you talk about like Spielberg and all those things, like, look at like a Star Wars kind of a thing, you need a currency that is not giving any advantage to any one particular country. You need a common currency. Either it will be a basket of currencies or it can be a Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is neutral. It's not helping one particular country over the other, right? It's just like gold. Right? It's not giving any favor. Like one person should not come today and say, I'm going to produce 100 tons of gold. If you can, you do it. You put the effort. Right? Even gold, they are saying there are asteroids which have like tons and tons of gold. They could be mined. So in future, gold might not have value. The gold value comes from scarcity, right? But beauty of Bitcoin is the scarcity is built in math. Math is universal. It's forever. It's like 21 million Bitcoins. It's 21 million Bitcoins forever. No one is going to change that. Okay. So if you look at in terms of assets, Bitcoin is the only truly scarce asset, right? And it also says that stop putting your trust on governments, central banks, or gold in terms of preserving the quality of the currency, because time and again, a lot of governments have failed. Zimbabwe failed, Venezuela failed. You look at those people carrying money in the wheelbarrows, right? Right. At some point of time, a country, it happens. It is a matter of time. It happens in 200 years, 500 years. When you stop putting trust on these people and start putting trust on maths, it cannot fail, right? Because maths is whatever was zero in 2000 years back, it's still zero now, right? So that is, as you said, cryptocurrencies definitely can be the future, right? There's like a huge possibility with globalization where we're talking about one world. We should also have one currency, right? That doesn't give.
It is more like ineffective current system should die, right?
Yeah, right.
It's a better something math related thing can come. You can easily prove it. And all ineffective. See, for example, SWIFT system. We don't even know why the SWIFT is still existing. For international money transfer, SWIFT is there. What job they do? They do the job similar like what an email does.
Right.
I'll have to send my money mail from me to you. I send it electronically. Same thing SWIFT does. But why are they charging that money? Why is Visa and MasterCard charging that money? It's the same reason why the government of India got in RuPay. Because you do no job at all. It's just an electronic transfer, but you're charging 2 rupees. I mean, 2%, 5%. Right. So all these systems will die off soon.
Yeah.
So there is a saying, right? No one can stop an idea whose time has come. Like you can put a lot of obstacles in its path, right? But if you look at electric cars, it's going to be electric cars, right? You can see it like 20, 30 years from now. Even Saudi Arabia sees that. Okay, the lobby can do anything. They can stop the subsidies. They can do. You don't need subsidies even for electric cars because it makes absolute sense. It's going to be so cheap and all those things. That is how we saw Bitcoin. Irrespective of what governments think about it, the technology is so powerful. It's unstoppable. Right. It's better to be part of that rather than going against it. Right.
Now, Sunil, just only one thing. I'll just go ahead and answer on just one thing. Then
sure.
People, whenever we talk about this, then they'll ask us, then why aren't Bitcoin done all this yet? Right. No, why hasn't done that magic? You guys are saying so much of magic. I'm not seeing the magic, right?
Okay.
Because all these cryptos are in the stage when we were using the dial-up connection, 56 kbps connection, and people were imagine someone is talking about watching a YouTube HD video, right? That's what ideally we are all saying about. The technology is still developing, right? I think that is one thing everyone accepts. The technology is still developing. It's in its nascent stages, but the most beautiful thing is it is an open source.
Right.
Best of the best minds around the world, they're working on it. There are a lot of new innovations, right, which are being used in, which are done in cryptocurrency, are used in day to day other computer related things. Zero hash problems, a lot of things. It was innovated in the crypto field, and it is being used in elsewhere in other computer related fields, right? So this is a nascent technology where the principles are looking very strong, the concepts are looking very strong. This technology requires a lot of support. Regulatory support is required. Killing this technology right away, it can be possible. You can kill it away even, right? But complete killing is not possible. Maybe we'll explain it to you later point of time. But this requires support. Only then you will find beauties like Ola and Uber that will come out, or it will be 56 kbps.
And look at Silicon Valley, right? The whole foundation of Silicon Valley was started like the establishment of Intel in 1960s. This happened before internet. Okay, by the time 2000, when internet was nothing, okay, you wouldn't talk about internet like what you're talking about, right? Fortune 500, hardly one or two companies would have been there, right? But the foundation happened before the whole explosion started, right? By 1995, you already had Microsoft. By 1998, you already had Google. The explosion takes place 10 years later. 2005, India cannot come and say internet is beautiful. I'm going to set a foundation right now, right? But the roots have to be dug long, long back. So if you say that Bitcoin we are going to regulate, allow in 2025 or 2030, once we see that it's actually promising, we see Japan, US, Europe going great with Bitcoin. You cannot do that then. If you want to have a kind of ideological or ideological leadership in terms of talent and all those things, it's right now, right? We did a great leap in the last 20, 30 years, taking over the software and all those things. We have the expertise. We have like millions and millions of people who can code, right? Can adapt to this new technology, right? If Indian company can think about this, right, we can take leadership. That is the whole point that we have been talking about.
See,
Yes.
one example like the AI example you took, like Sunil. Now the leaders in AI are not US. Leaders in AI are not even Europe. China is the leader in AI, right? So that is the amount of support and regulatory freedom the government had given to the companies there. So that is why we talk a lot about regulatory support, because innovations we have to do as a company. Even Geotest wants to do a lot of innovation, but we are worried about regulatory framework in certain areas. We are not touching it. Stable coins, we can do it for India. We don't do it because we're worried about regulations.
So one thing about regulation we are talking is, if government doesn't do nothing and says, okay, please do whatever you want up to a certain scale, we allow you free hand. That itself is a great start, right? The one thing that keeps bothering us is they say all wrong things, and media also does a lot of hype on the wrong negative connotations. When RBI supports Bitcoin, okay, it came for 2 days. When they talk about banning, it comes for like 7 days. They do a huge front page thing and all those things. So you said, right, I cannot pay Bitcoin for taxes. This is what Jaitley said in last budget speech. Okay, in 2019 or 2018, Jaitley said Bitcoin is not a legal tender. Basically, that means you cannot pay tax. What media and all those people consider is Bitcoin is illegal. Since it's not a legal tender, it's illegal. So that got hyped up, right? So we want government to actually have an open mind, explore the potential and possibilities of technology. See, even Zuckerberg, right? He could see the whole potential of Bitcoin. That is the reason he joined this thing, right? He started as Libra, right? You look at Twitter's Jack Dorsey. He's Twitter. He's having an office that's exclusively for people to work on Bitcoin, not even for his company. He's saying, I will pay you salary. You work on Bitcoin. Okay, he's one of the biggest proponents. The early adopters of internet, we have to look at what these people are saying, what they think about this technology, because these are the experts. Okay, you should not only rely on Indian bankers, the conventional people, to come up with saying what they prefer, because this is something that tries to bypass them, right? If you go and talk about WhatsApp to Vodafone or Airtel, they are going to say, please ban it. How can people call over internet? Okay, then I'm going to have a net neutrality opposite case where I'm going to charge WhatsApp calls at 10 rupees per minute and all those things, right? You cannot ask them for suggestions, right? you can take their inputs, but also take input from the wider community. Take input mainly from the tech community. NASSCOM criticized government when they were talking negative about cryptocurrencies for the sole reason. Okay, there's so much promise, so much potential, right? Someone who has entrance into a Visa or a Mastercard, they are not going to see it. If you actually look at Mastercard and Visa are one of the biggest investors in all cryptocurrency companies.
Right.
Okay, they are something called a digital currency group. DCG is there. If you look at Coinbase and all those things, Mastercard and Visa, they're already trying to kind of hedge their risk. But if you ask them, they'll say it's like a rat poison. Okay, it is not good for this thing and all those things because they are really afraid. So I think Chidambaram gave this example. If you have 100 rupee, you spend it 100 times, it's still 100 rupee. But if you start swiping your card, the 100 becomes 98. The merchant only gets 98. 2 rupees is being shaved. And so every month, 80,000 crores of transaction happens through debit card and credit card, right? And why do they charge 2% for a simple data transfer? No one can answer because there are hardly 5 companies: Visa, Mastercard, Maestro, Diners Club. Now we have RuPay and Union Pay because government also wants to take a cut, right? But this should not be the case, right? It should not be just Microsoft. We need people like Linux. Once Linux comes, you see that top 100 computers, 99 are running on Linux. 99% of the world, 95% of the world run on Android mobile phones, right? Smart this thing. And look at the kind of value add it's giving people. So this is our position.
Okay.